Everybody, it's the Man Master here. It's been a while, I know, that since I've done a video, but a lot has happened the past week or so with regards to the current crisis that we are in. So I thought I'd do an overview of numerous pieces of news that should comfort those who were expecting things to get a lot worse. And, you know, as I've said before, when I hear about the good things, even if it's, you know, I believe this thing is real. Obviously, I think it's been used by authoritarians to push something. Maybe it's one of those things, problem, reaction, solution. They create the crisis, they, you know, foster it, and they create a solution to take control. Whatever. I have a lot of different things. I've noticed, you know, I've come into contact with a lot of people, and, you know, discovered a lot of people like on Twitter and stuff with regards to this that think the same way. And also more moderates are rising up too, you know, and I'm going more towards the moderate perspective, because we look at this thing and it's like the moderates are the voice of reason in this crisis. But anyways, enough about that. I might do more videos about that. But this one, the week started out good, because there are tons of protests happening around the world against lockdowns, against mandates. It's been really good. I mean, there's tens of thousands of people protesting. There's also lawsuits going on. I follow people on Twitter that are talking about that. I even had contact with someone for a little bit on Twitter about it. This certain lawyer from somewhere that I'm not going to mention who it is, but she is doing that too, you know, against some of these mandates, because some of them are just, a lot of them go too far, in my opinion, in my estimation. Now, that was one of the first pieces of good news, but then there was a second piece of good news. And this has just been all like the last 4 or 5 days. I don't even think it's been a week, just seeing all this stuff happen. It's very good. I think very good, promising things. And I'm going to mention some other stuff that will be a surprise too. I just want this thing to go away. Okay. It's been, you know, and there's stuff about that too coming up. Just, this is a really good weekend for this, because we've seen a lot of things happen in the last 48 hours that have just blown my mind. I mean, it's, like I said, my previous video is not necessarily a forewarning of disaster for everything or anything like that. It's just more, you know, there's going to be some crazy stuff, and there already is. So, what happened after that? Well, then Joe Rogan got the virus, and he used some controversial medicines, but he recovered. That's good news. Anytime someone recovers and doesn't have bad results from that, it's good news. I don't care about the left, you know, oh, Joe Rogan, I hope he dies. There's some people on Twitter saying that kind of stuff. They should be ashamed of themselves. So he recovered. And then what happened was, I don't think this was after, but there has been some news about the boost thing that was always controversial with good reason. Cat Dog Cat says, oh, we don't have enough in yet about this. We don't know about this, you know. And then there were people that resigned from the FDA over it, like it's going too quick, and they're just like, what the hell? Why are we talking about this when there's so many people that haven't done the special action Jackson nation around the world and even in their own country? So good news on that front. Good news that people are resigning because of it. That's good news. That's good news on, I mean, even Mr. Mr. Jones said some stories like, this is the beginning of the year. You know, I mean, I'm not going to go that far, but I'm just saying, like, that was a good thing, because that stuff, that if there's corruption, we need to know about it. Okay. So anyways, that's enough for that part of it. But then there was this other study that came out about natural being, I'm going to try to use code words because YouTube's censor stuff. Naturally, I'm trying to think of a word that rhymes. IMMUNE, you know, that have already been previously had the thing, right? Not the thing that you shoot something, you know, with, but the other thing, the actual spiked ball, you know, Spike Lee. Oh God, he's using these code words. So there it was this study people are all talking about it on Twitter and elsewhere, Facebook. It's like, oh my God, maybe there. I mean, there's this Israeli study that came out. I don't know if it's preprint or not, but it was, it's been, people have been talking about this for months, T-cell immunity and all that stuff, and Fauci denied it and all this stuff in front of Congress, even though he had his name signed on the study. This is part of the reason why I totally broke with Fauci, is because of that kind of stuff. So it's like, we hear about this study coming out, it's publicized, it's great to know. And more on this in a second, because I have a theory about something that's going on right now in a certain country that really had it one of the worst. This is all good news, by the way. No matter what you think about this whole thing, this is good news. Nobody that is a skeptic against what they're doing wants the virus to stay or something like that. I'm sure there's a few liberals that really like wearing like 20 masks all the time, and they might secretly wish, I hope it stays forever, but no. Nobody that's a skeptic against the government wants this thing, by the way. So, something happened the last 24 hours that was really interesting as well. And that was the whole, I'll just say, it starts with an I. It's a controversial anti-parasitic medication. The left always likes, so it's horse dewormer, it's horse dewormer. It's just one of the dumbest debates ever. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't give a shit about it. I'd rather hear about the vitamin D studies and stuff like that. I don't care about this horse dewormer, whatever. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, just bring out more studies, do more studies. I'm so sick of hearing about it. I'm so sick of the left being, it's horse dewormer, you're taking horse. It's not horse dewormer. People use it for all sorts of stuff around the world. I don't care though. Just like the last controlled opposition drug that they try to popularize, that has a hydrogen in the name, and oxygen. I'm not going to say the word because of YouTube, but I don't know if it's banned or not now, but it's like, it's just, who cares? If it works, it doesn't, or it doesn't, don't just try to shame people and say it's horse dewormer, one of the dumbest NPC things ever that I've heard. So Rolling Stone did a story about how this horse dewormer had led to overdoses in some Oklahoma hospital, and they were flooded in the hospital. Then it comes out 24 hours later, they had to retract. They didn't really retract it, but they had a disclaimer in this. I don't remember. It was like half-ass retraction. They had to retract the story because the guy that told them didn't work their hospital. That's hospital for like 2 months. They never got overloaded and all this stuff. It's like they had their hospital. I mean, hospitals take this. A lot of these hospitals take this shit seriously. It's not like they're sitting there, oh, we got to deny, we should, it's like they're politically motivated, this Oklahoma hospital. And they're like, no, this never happened. Rachel Maddow had ran with it, all these fucking, mainstream outlets, and they egg on their face right away. It was pretty good. That's a victory to me. To me, that's a victory that the left, quote unquote, in this crisis can be just as disinformation, ridden, or spread as much disinformation, and people actually see it happen in real time than the other side, because it means the moderates will prevail, and the skeptics against the government overreach will prevail, hopefully by extension. So that was a great thing too. Now the final piece of good news, and this is probably the best news in the long run, if we are to believe what's coming out of India about a certain other virus that's been in existence forever, way longer than this novel one, and that starts with a I if you're using a long word, or an F, FLU. It's returned to India. And why is this a good thing? Because of this whole theory of viral interference, which is that is the reason for the C virus being more prevalent last year, possibly is because they vie for hosts and stuff. This is just a theory. So YouTube, stay off my fucking back, okay? I'm not going to get monetized because I use the word fuck all the time. But anyways, this is some of the best news I've heard. Because if it's returning, that means the other virus might be endemic and might be. They said this is a good thing. They say because it was disappeared for a whole year, over a year. They hadn't had hardly any cases. Now they're getting cases. I'm not saying that's good either way, but it's good because maybe once this will happen. If this happens in America, we're gonna probably, dare I say the word normal, but it's like, oh, it's just a normal year. We have the flu, and we might have this. Who knows? But they had the Delta Airlines. I'm using code words again. They had the Delta Airlines hit India pretty hard, so it was probably the worst in the world as far as I know. But now it's that the flu returned. That might be spell. That might, I dare say, and I'm going to speculate. I'm not going to predict this, but that might spell the beginning of the end of what's going on with all this stuff. I mean, if the viral interference theory is to be believed, definitely the truth is that that's what's happening. So I'm very happy with the last 5 or 6 days of what's been going on with this. It's gone, I'm very happy because maybe we're turning the tide. I mean, for one, we're turning the tide against any kind of weird plans these governments have for keeping this shit in forever, like the Patriot Act. I mean, if they want to keep this stuff going forever, who knows? Australia, there was a little Freudian slip from some Australian presenter about leaving the lockdowns until 2070 or something like that. It was like just weird Orwellian atmosphere. It was they misspoke, but it was very strange. So well, I can't speak with an Australian accent, by the way. But anyways, that's about all.